2019 was alright, I guess. I mean, from the few lists I've seen already, a lot of people can decide if it's bad, it's good, it's weird, it's boring. We can all agree that it was a year of Old Town Road, though.
I got the horses in the bag.
I'm not joking, I don't have really anything to say about 2019 or than it was the year where Old Town Road was huge and everyone was talking about for a long while. In fact, let me put into perspective how it felt month by month following the Hot 100.
Alright. Meh.
I got the horses, got the horses, got the horses, horses in the
Oh my god,
horses
still
in the
going. Huh. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Wait, what? Already? What the hell happened?
Of course, it shouldn't be a bad thing since Old Town Road is indeed a very good song, but everything else feels so secondary as a result. Like, for starters, I'm looking at the year end and some of these songs like, what the hell is this? Who are you? What is going on? Even like the actual hits, while record breaking, were super forgettable and weak. I'm worried that my year end ranking video that I do later down the line will just end up being me rating songs with just a couple of words like, this bad, this good, eh. It wasn't a bad year really, but it's probably the least noteworthy I've covered. It's sort of a weak end to the decade, honestly. But this means that there were less songs that made me angry or that stood out as terrible, but let me tell you, the ones that did, oh boy, they were so bad.
Yeah, even in the most mediocre years, we still got a lot of songs going bad on us anyways. So, let's count down the top 10 worst hit songs of 2019. Number 10.
So, reggaeton continues to be a menace to society. Okay, no, I've tried to grow apart from the whole reggaeton is the worst thing ever mentality. I've tried to be more open-minded. J Balvin and Bad Bunny have put out quality work. Ozuna and Anuela have upgraded from the worst things ever to just bad. I've become sort of desensitized by the genre. I didn't really hate any song, mainly because while it's still going strong, there weren't any huge hits in the genre this year. The biggest was Con Calma, which had nothing worth talking about besides, oh my god, he got Snow to feature on it. LMAO, the Katy Perry remix stinks. Either way, I felt like I needed to put at least one genuine reggaeton song on the list, so I went with the closest thing that counted for this list. Again, I don't like reggaeton, but from the hits this year, I feel like Latin artists were sleepwalking through most of this, and Otro Trago by Sek is easily the most forgettable and essential the only successful. Like, I'm sorry, but this Sech guy is just okay, actually. That's a problem, since to be a big reggaeton artist, your vocals need to be either pretty good or pretty bad. He puts more effort at the Balvin, but he doesn't sound like a Fonzie either. He isn't as annoying as an Ozuna, but also not as romantic as a Romeo Santos. He's just mediocre as hell. I'm sure he's a cool guy, but I don't know, I don't really see his star appeal. I don't really see it. Speaking of middle of the road, there's also the rest of the song. I just don't see much use for this at all. Because of the drowsy, forgettable instrumental, it's too bumpy to be a ballad, too sad to be a club song. The percussion is way too loud, you can barely hear the pianos. I didn't like the Dying Goat sample from Mi Gente or the Bleepy drop from X at all, but at least they dropped those songs. At least I can see someone deciding to listen to them. Without a strong personality or a cool beat, what is it to like about Otro Trago? Lyrics. Do you care? Like 99% of people listen to this don't care about the lyrics to a reggaeton song, but whatever, let's talk about them. I've noticed this common lyrical motif of talking about other women in the third person. She got her heart broken, she wants to drink and she wants to dance. She looks so perfect standing there in my American Apparel underwear. Another hit this year, Ella Quiere Beber does that, and Anuela even references in the remix to Otro Trago. While other songs at least give you the impression that the artists and who they're talking about know each other, Sech? I'm gonna call him Sech. I don't know if it's Sech or Sek, but Sech sounds much better. Sech gives me the impression that he's just talking to some woman and narrating her story at the club. Weirdly enough, the song this reminds me the most of is The A-Team by Ed Sheeran. She don't wanna go outside. But while that song talked about a homeless junkie, this one just talks about a woman whose boyfriend cheated on him and now gets drunk a lot. Which, yeah, alcoholism is a serious issue, but it made it feel so unimportant. Critics have accused Ed Sheeran of romanticizing his subject, but at least he tried to make beats sound miserable instead of miserably boring. Also, Ed Sheeran didn't give a dance beat and proceeded to talk about how he wants to ban the woman.
Sir, we need to talk about your daughter. She has a severe problem of alcohol abuse. Also, everybody go to the discotheque. Also, who's this?
This Darrell guy doesn't fit at all. His sluggish voice clashes with the beat and such, and his lyrics about eating Fruit Loops have nothing to do with the song. What the hell is this?
I mean, it's like a C-tier cereal. I don't know what the buzz is all about.
He loses focus on the topic like that. This is another guy I don't really see had much success, seeing how he doesn't have really any other hit except for... Oh no, I just remembered. Oh no, I just remembered. God fucking damn it. No, please don't. Don't bring them back. Don't bring the memories back, please. To be fair, that song was like 10 minutes long. I don't even think Neo Garcia is a real person, like he's the lead artist. I could also talk in depth about the remix with Ozuna, Anuela, and Nicky Jam, but I won't. Otro trago, más bien otra canción. Siguiente. Number 9. Cardi B did not have a great 2019. Historians will probably call her revolutionary, how she opened so many doors for interesting female rappers after the 2010s were so nearly all dominated by Nicki Minaj, and besides Iggy Azalea very briefly in 2014, only Nicki Minaj.
Since her breakthrough in 2017, we've had Megan Thee Stallion, City Girl, Saweetie, and many others pop up in the Hot 100. Plus the continued acclaim of artists like Rhapsody, Rico Nasty, No Name, and Tierra Whack. Hell, you could even argue that Lizzo is a rapper, and she's like one of the biggest stars right now. That's great and all, but then you remember, oh yeah, these two still exist.
Nicki Minaj had a horrible year, only barely nabbed that year-end spot with a late summer feature. Her own single was one of the biggest flops of the year. Cardi fared a little bit better, but honestly not by much. She's definitely not talentless, but I can say I like anything she did this year. She tried to go hard in her rap cuts, but they ended up being absolutely no fun at all. She's even worse when she goes full pop and delivers phony verses. Even her biggest hit, I like it. Her performance feels super half-assed, like she usually can flow pretty good, but here she's like, I like dollars, I like diamonds, beady booty badu badu. I could have picked one of her 3 hits as a lead artist. There was Embarrassing Mess That Was Money and Embrace It No Fun Flop Single Press. But no, at least those have energy, and at least Cardi tried in those. At least it wasn't this. Remember this song? It came out like 9 months ago, peaked at number 3. Yeah, me neither. A baby could have been conceived to this song, and by the time it was born, the parents already forgot about the song because it kind of just awkwardly sank immediately after release, only being held by the radio and not much else. And rightly so, because it tried to capitalize from the success of both artists, especially their previous collaboration, Finesse. But while that song was fun and carefree, Please Me was tense and uncomfortable. Please Me is like when you cast 2 actors from one great movie and later you get them again for a much shittier one. Basically, Finesse was Thor Ragnarok, and this is Men in Black International. First off, I've been tired of Cardi B for a while, so I'm not even sure if this is a career low for her or anything. It is pretty bad though. I mean, she makes the word horchata sound so gross.
My pussy horchata.
I don't know, I really like horchata, but it has to be the worst Bruno Mars song and performance since like Liders. He's so bad in this.
A common music criticism is when songs don't really progress from hook to hook and it stays very stale and monotonous. This song does progress, but in the absolute worst way, since in each chorus Bruno sounds more and more desperate and is genuinely terrifying.
Just the concept of the song sounds desperate, like Please Me is not something sexy at all. But unlike say Lock Out of Heaven, it doesn't really build up gradually to that desperation. It's just horny Bruno, boring Cardi, hornier Bruno, boring Cardi, ultra horny Bruno, and then this awful bridge, the beat don't work right.
You better say that shit. Credit don't play that shit.
I don't know if I am sick of Bruno's pastiches yet, but even the worst song from 24 Karat Magic had much better production than this synth nightmare. Bruno has spent years rebuilding his image from the dweeb who sang tracks like Grenade and Evil Rain to an amazing irresistible sex icon, but when he looks like this with his rat mustache, I need to reiterate how horrible he sounds in this.
I'm legit hoping for a better future for these two artists. I love Bruno, I appreciate Cardi. The latter really needs that one great hit to kick off her next era and save that Tiger Woods album. Yes, that's how it's called. I just want more quality, please. Or should I say, please?
Number 8.
Gold all in my chain, gold all in my ring.
Going into the 2020s, I've realized something that's gonna be missing from pop culture from now on are one-hit wonders. Like, now that we're in the streaming YouTube era, songs are so easy to find and gain so much traction. Pretty much any moderately successful artist can have at least 2 songs with over like 100 million plays or views, even the ones that don't really crack the top 40. But surprisingly enough, there were a couple of rappers that don't seem to get out of their one hit. Like, I don't think we'll hear from Flip De Niro or Callboy by 2020, but honestly those were like minor hits at best. What would be embarrassing is to start a year with a huge smash hit on your belt and end it with no one caring about you at all. Like, check West, you think he'd be interesting. He's signed to both Travis Scott and Kanye West record labels. He's at least distinct. He has his signature style of shouting, and he even has some cool contributions on Astroworld, but he is so boring. And Mobamba is so boring. Actually, I'm not surprised he signed to Kanye, because just like him with his recent output, Check tricked us into thinking this was any good. There was even the whole Sicko Mode versus Mobamba debacle, but in the realm of trap rap, that would be like putting Bohemian Rhapsody against insert the most boring Nickelback song here. Sicko Mode had 3 good beats. Mobamba could even get 1. It's all bass and these twinkly keys. For the most part, Check only has 1 flow that drags so much. I feel like I'm gonna get copyright struck just for showing a complete note without cuts. There, that's all you get, I don't want to take any risks. That is except for this little bit where the energy kind of picks up, I guess.
Oh fuck, shit, bitch.
Sure, it's a step up, but only by default, and the worst part is that it was an accident because this whole song was a freestyle and the beat broke in that part. And this song is like a roller coaster that goes like this. The lyrics aren't even good, really. Again, it's a freestyle, and even for those, this is pretty weak. I just think that it's worth pointing out how much Mobamba aged like milk. Also, I said that he started the year big and ended the year small. It makes it sound like it was a gradual decline, but that wasn't the case. He was huge in January, he was hit by domestic abuse allegations in February, and by March, no one really cared about him.
He really fucked around. He really fucked around and got cancelled.
Number 7. I originally planned to make a whole paragraph to introduce this next entry, where I ponder whether or not 10 years after his death, if we should still idolize Michael Jackson after everything that was revealed by the Living Neverland documentary. How, yeah, he has made some of the most iconic music of all time, but should we still hold on to it? I mean, we pretty much don't listen to R. Kelly anymore, right? And that's before questioning the veracity of the documentary itself and asking if he actually did all of those things. Yeah. Then I realized,
this is a shitty trap song that most people don't like, no one remembers. Why the hell do I even bother with all that controversial crap?
Back at it. She ain't never do this before, but she good at it.
I don't want to mince words, it just sounds like ass.
Got a new biz that I ain't promoting, yeah.
I defended a boogie with a hoodie because he had potential and the beat to Drowning was pretty cool. But now I don't understand the hype around him at all. Like, his album was amongst the best selling of 2019 and I just don't get why. Plus, his now biggest hit, Look Back at This Hot Garbage.
I have to come forward, I don't love Michael Jackson's music. I think that the Thriller album is not that great. There's a lot of songs from him that I do like. And even I can say that interpolating his singing, specifically his scat singing, it's a terrible goddamn idea. This is more like scat, not a vocal technique. the feces.
See, just like I'm not expecting every reggaeton artist to sound like Luis Fonsi, I'm not expecting smooth, pristine, like Ariana Grande vocal performances in trap rap. Hell, I don't even really like when she does it. A lot of rappers have these weird, nearly uncanny valley voices, and that's mostly fine. I've nearly grown accustomed to Young Thug and his clones after about 5 years. I'm mostly fine with Lil Tecca and YNW Melly, solely for artistic reasons, by the way. And I like some songs by artists like Roddy Ricch and even Lil Baby, but some newcomers this year really took it like 5 steps backwards and really tested my patience. And a boogie with a hoodie just trumps them all in awfulness. I don't think I've come across an artist that sounds like they're being held hostage as much as him. It has to be like the worst hook of the year.
She never made love, but she good at it.
What the hell is this song? What is the mood of this song? Is this a love song? More luxury brag rap? Why does it sound so scary? The beat is so miserable, it sounds like it wants to kill me, kill my family, and or kill itself. I'm just confused. Not only are the lyrics pretty pointless, they're kind of also really bad and repetitive. A lot of rhyming with itself, not that it really matters since all I care is the voices telling me that I have 7 days to live now.
It might be an unintentional Halloween song, but and that it's just terrible garbage. Hey, maybe he did do his Thriller after all.
My life.
Number 6.
Okay, Maroon 5 is back on my shit list.
Here's to the ones that we got.
You might be asking, back? As in they weren't there before? Yeah, I don't think I've hated Maroon 5 in a while. Of course, I wouldn't call them good, hell no, they suck. But my hatred for them dried out a long time ago, like they sucked all decade, why are they going to stop now? I didn't even really hate their last, unfortunately named album Red Pill Blues, or singles that much. I still like Cold and Wait quite a bit, and I was one of the few people who didn't completely hate the mega successful Girls Like You, to be honest. Hell, I was one of the few defenders of the Super Bowl halftime show. Oh no, because of them, they were pretty boring and bad. Every single song they performed blended with each other. It was more because of the whole SpongeBob sicko mode thing that people were way too mad about, like that was just lame. But no, it took until this new single Memories, which is climbing towards the top of the charts, sitting comfortably in the top 5 as I'm writing this, for me to just give up on this lame, dumb, terrible band.
It's probably the worst single they've released since like Sugar. Maybe even worse, honestly. I hate it so much, which didn't make me happy when I discovered its subject matter.
Memories is a tribute to Maroon 5's late manager, Jordan Fieldstein, who passed away at the age of 40 a couple of years ago. This is huge since it's a big departure from the previous hits that have been about love, breakup, love, being a furry, breakup. At least you think it'd be, not that you can tell from the final product because, well, I'm sorry, but this song is just Love Yourself Again. It has the same straight back douchey vibe coming off of it. Even Adam's vocalization sounds exactly like the trumpet from Bieber's song. Which reminds me, let's talk a little bit about Love Yourself.
Love Yourself is really terrible. I had it like at number 10 on my 2016 worst list. It probably should be number 1. That was way too low. Recently I found something I hate more than Love Yourself. That is live performances of Love Yourself. Like the song works, not for me obviously, but for other people because of the dismissive attitude on the vocals. So why the hell would you belt it like that?
But the same goes for Memories, which could have used a more restrained performance from Adam. Well, I guess this is restrained compared to... However, lately Levine has sounded more bored, and it just shows. He just sleepwalks through this song, mumbling and yelping. I straight up cannot understand what this son of a bitch is saying half of the time.
Also, I think he's putting on an accent.
And I did not know no pain.
I'm the Maroon 5 man, why you gotta be so rude?
People have told me this is in the upper echelon of the rap boot this decade, and I'm sorry, I just don't hear it. Others have turned it though, so I assume their history with this song is just like mine, like it went from boring to, wait a minute, actually this might not be that bad, to, yeah, this is awful, screw this. I got so sick of it immediately, it just stopped registering as a tribute song. When you make a song dedicated to a deceased person, you need to make it either soulfully crushing or beautifully inspiring, or at least you try to evoke that feeling. I believe there are people that can find many emotions in this song, but to me, it's not the farewell with the intimate music video that ironically everyone compares to Sinead O'Connor. Memories just feels like shitty elevator music that I will turn off every time it comes on the radio. The only memorable thing about it is that it samples Pachelbel's Canon, which only reminds me that they've gotten to the train stage of nabbing classical songs instead of coming up with new ideas. I bet that in 10 years, Imagine Dragons will be interpolating for Elise or something.
Hell, who the fuck does this on a tribute song? One of my closest friends from all time passed away recently.
Overall, just a flashy way to end the decade. Here's to Maroon 5 being interesting ever again. Number 5. See, I'd say that this was actually the worst reggaeton hit of the year and not Otto Trago, or one of the other ones that weren't even close to qualifying.
I mean, that Black Eyed Peas J Balvin song is charting, so I wanted to make it so amusingly bad.
But no, I don't really consider Taki Taki a reggaeton song, even if it does have one of the bigger artists in the genre on it. Honestly, this song is as Latino as Taco Bell pretty much. Billboard also considers it an EDM song, which I would call it less, but it makes sense considering it has a credited producer. I mean, if close to me counted, why not this? What I wasn't expecting to happen in 2019 was the death of EDM in the Hot 100. Besides Marshmello, I don't think there was any DJ with sustained success this year, and even then, his post-happier singles weren't that huge. I definitely wasn't expecting trap rap to outlast EDM. Back when I used to be more knowledgeable about EDM, DJ Snake was starting to pop up, and I could see that just like eventual collaborator Check West. Yikes. He was loud and distinct and gave us that amazing lean on solo, so I assumed that he was gonna be a household name. For a while, he was. But the Chainsmokers made the genre more pop-centric, he quietly retreated. I guess now that they're not around, he decided to come back to make shitty reggaeton instead, which commercially is a good move, but artistically, it just sucks. His beats are so blech.
Wasn't this a turn up for what guy? The guy with the loud, shrilling drops? Why the hell is this so limp?
It's not like the performances are any better. He had to get Ozuna of all people as the main vocalist, and I already told you that he was a mistake. Not that I blame him, because he had to come up with anything that could work with that dumbass nonsense title. Taki Taki doesn't even mean anything, and Taki isn't even a nice sounding word yet. He has to come up with anything that rhymes with it. Look at his lines.
These are all obscure terms. I mean, he has to refer to motorcycle brands and Mesopotamian groups. Hold up, what was that Nagasaki line? Hell, if this song was called Titanic Titanic, I bet your ass he would say that he drowned the pussy like the Titanic.
Cardi doesn't even bother to say Taki Taki once. I already told you about Cardi B's declining quality back in 2017 when Cardi was a new hot thing, and a feature from her was a big deal. I'd care more about their contributions to Taki, but now at the end of 2019, after countless pointless phoning verses, I couldn't give less of a crap. And finally we got to the worst part with Selena. Good God.
Careful when you come through my way.
I like a few of her songs, but at this point, Selena Gomez has just been radio filler for years. She hasn't had an album in nearly half a decade, yet Spotify tells me she's one of the most streamed artists, even though I don't think anyone actually listens to her music. I only ever hear her in malls and cars. She got a #1 hit this year for the same reason Houses Without Me went to #1, because America cares way too much about dumb breakups. But this Halsey's song bumps. Not that Selena should be in songs that even try to bump, if Taki Taki is an indication. She's just god awful in this. She has no sex appeal, her voice is too weak, and her lyrics?
What my talkie talkie wants, get my talkie talkie
Ugh. As a Mexican person, I should be honored that the English-speaking world is taking influence from Spanish music and this language, but it honestly feels like trend writing more than appreciation from the culture. Like, ooh, reggaeton is a hot thing, so let's get a French DJ. Two American stars with Hispanic heritage and one of the world's reggaetoneros are run to make a half-assed song where no one's putting any effort. I mean, DJ Snake isn't the worst offender in this. Again, the Black Eyed Peas spent this whole year trying to capitalize from the genre, and then Sheeran, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. But that doesn't mean that this doesn't completely suck.
This is the part where I bring up a bag of Takis and make a joke. Well, I don't even like Takis. This song really ruffles my feathers.
Number 4.
This is not a good song.
She told me put my heart.
It's a pretty bad song, and ever since it came out, I was originally planning to make fun of it.
If you heard the news, you already know why I won't. I mean, a man died. Who cares anymore? I mean, not only that, he was just 21 years old. My brother is that age. I'm nearing that age. Imagine dying that young so suddenly.
For the record, I'm still mostly okay with other people critiquing this song, putting it on their worst list and still trashing it like nothing happened, if they do it in a way that's not petty or disrespectful. Personally, I'd be pretty uncomfortable doing so. I'm thinking of what I went through with Mac Miller's death and how terrible I would feel if someone went out of the way to mock him and critique him right after he passed away. Doesn't really change the fact that Robbery is a pretty misguided bad song, and I'd be disingenuous if I remove it from my list, but I don't really want to talk about it at all. What about X, you might say? You critiqued his songs last year in your Worst of 2018 list. Well, Juice WRLD is not like X's Tentacion, despite their similarities. Not only was X's death much earlier in the year, so there was more time to process it, but his music and persona were so unlikable and intertwined that it was pretty much impossible to ignore. X had allegations of abusive behavior, and his music itself reflected that. I believe that Juice's lyrics were mostly just mistakes from a young man. Even before he passed, I was going to point out how in Robbery his sang starts to feel like an act. It starts to feel ironic because it was written so long ago when he was like 18. He seemed like a nice guy, and he also had a lot of potential, honestly. I've looked at his freestyles, I've looked at his interviews. I always recognize his ability to write solid melodies, and his distinct voice worked in a few contexts. Hate him or not, his songs were nearly always catchy. Also, he didn't always write about breakups and women, and that's where his writing was stronger. I especially like his single Link With Me, which at least should have been an honorable mention on my neglected songs list last year. It's one of his few songs where the production really works, the electric guitar isn't overwhelming and complements his dark tone, where Juice WRLD shows his drug abuse related paranoia, and sadly this song has the Mac Miller syndrome where it hits way harder after the artist's death.
Told her if I die, I'ma die young.
I repeat, he had a lot of potential, but even then this song is surprisingly great for the guy. It is an absolute tragedy that we lost such a young artist like that. I'm hoping that his record label trains him like Mac or Nipsey, at least most of his music alone. I've heard that he had an album in the works for a while, so maybe they should release that later down the line at most. I don't want his posthumous discography to be more than one album. Even as someone who didn't like X's Tentacion at all, I'm super grossed out by the way they've been exploiting him since his death. 3 posthumous albums, all half-assed and terrible. I nearly feel bad for him. That's a terrible fate. I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
As for Robbery, I cannot hate the song. Just a stupid, laughable track that he wrote as a teenager and he probably didn't enjoy actually. He was up for much better things. And I mean, much later, the boring, awful version of Robbery became a #1 hit, so let's talk about that instead.
Now the day bleeds into nightfall.
Like 90% of YouTube creators will end up putting this song somewhere on their list. You've probably already seen multiple worst lists with this near the top, but good lord, if there's a song that deserves it, it's this one. This is the most easy to criticize song. The one that's obviously so bad, you don't even need someone to write paragraphs and paragraphs of criticism to get why it's bad. It's just bad. Let's talk about vocal performance for a bit. I'm just jealous of any artist who can convey a lot of emotion solely through their vocals alone. And over the years I've found out that there's so many different and distinct voices, even ones that aren't technically pleasant to the ear, that can still work because of the writing. For example, 90% of rock vocalists have this rough or whiny vocals, yet it's the melody, the lyricism, the atmosphere, the instrumentation, and many other factors that would save their songs and make them of quality. Sometimes they are better than songs with technically flawless but emotionally barren performances. There's a little zone that a singer needs to reach to be right in between soulless perfection or grand annoyance, and they require years and years of practice to be able to get to it. Luis Capaldi is right here. Like Adam Levine, Ozuna, I believe that the regular voices are like that and that they just can't help it. Like Adam especially already sounds nasal while talking, which is why they only have a couple of songs where they sound pretty good. There's a song that's huge right now, Dance Monkey. I don't like it, and I'm pretty sure the singer is kind of god-awful, but at least her voice is interestingly god-awful, something unique.
In fact, you can say that I've never seen anybody do the things she do before.
But Luis Capaldi on Someone You Love, he's far from being compelling. This performance is clearly a bad take that should have been scrapped. And this song just doesn't suit the artist at all. He isn't good on his other songs either, but he's like at best tolerably boring. Someone You Love is not in the right key for him, but everyone thinks that the higher you go, the more impressive it is and the sadder you sound, but he just sounds like crap. I looked at most of the popular covers of this song and nearly every single one of them was much better. Well, except one which...
Now the day bleeds into nightfall.
Jesus Christ. Not that it matters, since the composition and lyrics are still poo-poo anyways, even Pavarotti couldn't save this track. I don't usually put Soccer Mom, Piano, / acoustic guitar ballads by European nobodies high on my worst list, if at all, because who the hell cares, but even ignoring the asinine performance, Someone You Love is considerably worse than any of the ones before. The lyrics are super corny and sappy.
This all and nothing way of loving, go be sleeping without you.
Say what you want about Robbery. She told me put my heart in a bag and nobody gets hurt. It's a somewhat unique metaphor. Luis Capaldi wished he wrote something as original or clever as that.
I let my guard down and then you pulled the rug.
It's just so melodramatic and desperate. I mashed it up with someone that I used to know because of the similar title line. And Goatee in that song lays down that sentence so potently and it just sits there.
Now you're just somebody that I used to know.
And you're like, wow, I guess she really was somebody that I used to know. When Capaldi says his titular line, it sounds like a wet fart, like
I was getting kinda used to being someone you love. And
even in the new music video where you'll have to look at his ugly mug and you have all these people stopping him being all like, bro, she's just not that into you.
To your arms.
God, just shut up. Of course the instrumental itself is generic as hell, 4-chord bullshit that's too fast to be somber but too slow to have a groove. Like, how the hell did this of all things go to number 1? Let Her Go didn't go to number 1, Be Alright didn't go to number 1, Sam Smith back when they made these type of songs never had a number 1 in the US. But Luis Capaldi did. Why? What's the use for this song anyways? We already have Someone Like You, which is a great ballad by a great singer. There's also All of Me if you want a shitty ballad by a great singer.
Lucas Graham was way better. James Bay was way better. Even James Arthur. Actually, let me think about that for just a little bit. Okay,
Luis Capaldi is not as bad as James Arthur. But that's actually worse because that means that he can't even really be the absolute worst balladeer. Again, there's no use for him. He's probably the single worst new artist of the year. I honestly can't find any competition unless you think Lil Tecca and Blueface are somehow up there. It's just the kind of song that has very little to offer, just insulting, just piss off. Number 2. This was a big year for country music, not necessarily a good one, but there were more country hits for the first time in a while, and a good chunk of them I actually really like, which rarely happens. I have a few contenders for my best list.
of course there were mediocre ones, there were shit ones, but only one was so bad that it left me speechless.
I'm speechless.
No, you idiots, I'm talking about the TikTok one, what the hell?
Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie.
Huh? What is that? Aww. Don't cry, little fella. Here. Hey guys, look! It's a bar. You lowered it. Like, really? This was a hit? Like, we couldn't get a Chainsmokers another hit. Or some obscure Drake feature, or even one of Ed Sheeran's terrible tracks in his monstrosity of an album. I'll even take La 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 over this. What the hell is this? Fuck you. Okay, here's why this song is just the worst.
Hey, you might ask, why are you putting this song so high on the list? I mean, you obviously didn't like how depressing this year was, so why put this song?
Yeah, I know, I wanted more fun songs. But this is the most tragic, depressing song ever made.
I don't even know if calling it a hit or a song is accurate. It's just a corporate product for people to dance to. It's essentially an even more watered out version of Watch Me by Salento that sounds like absolute trash. There's barely any instrumental, just a guitar, generic snappy percussion, and these just awful ad-libs and backing vocals. It's all mixed like dog shit and just... Does this not sound terrible to you?
Look, I was hoping to criticize this song on its own first. It was pretty much impossible to not immediately bring up the obvious comparison that everyone's going to make with this song. I have to, I really do. So let's talk about Baby Shark. Now you are not wondering why this is on my worst list. Oh god, please don't tell me you thought I'd put this on a worst list. Good god, Baby Shark is like a layer masterpiece. What is wrong with you? Okay, no, but seriously.
It's fine, it's harmless, just a song to entertain your children for a bit, and it's genuinely well crafted. Good production, good melody, it sticks to your brain. It isn't even that annoying, to be honest. It's much more ambitious than anything Blanco Brown will ever write in his life. They essentially have the same purpose. Hell, Baby Shark doesn't even really instruct you to dance, but at least it does have a groove and some energy to dance to. Pink Fong are happy and cheerful and lively. Blanco Brown sounds like he wants to jump off a cliff by the time the song is over. You have fun, goddammit, it's your goddamn song. He's about twice the age Salento was, and that kid at least really wanted you to whip and name it. He sounds happy. Hell, he's about half the age as Los Del Rio when Macarena was a hit. I hate that song, and even then they sounded way more happy. Blanco Brown doesn't even know what the dance really is, it's just do whatever, do whatever, yeah. Clearly obvious from the way he botches every single note, especially the ones right where he's supposed to be at his most lethal. It's so obvious that he's not enjoying this.
Spelling is fun.
I mean, at least that's how he comes off as. I mean, he probably is having a good time, but I just don't buy it. And I decided to check out his album for some godforsaken reason. Maybe I spoke too soon when I said that Luz Capaldi was the worst newcomer of the year. That record is just abysmal. There's not a single drop of quality to be salvaged. Its only positive is that if you really want to see the desperate scramblings of a broken man's mind, you can find it in Honeysuckle and Lightning Box. That's a real title.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about Old Town Road. Again.
I got the horses in the back.
I'm not gonna pretend that I was rooting for Old Town Road the whole way through its run. Was it legit? Was it through trickery? Most likely the latter, but at least it was good, great even. It felt like a pinnacle of country rap. I earlier said that there's been a country resurgence. I wouldn't count out Old Town Road as the reason why. But you know what I saw a surprising lack of? Lil Nas copycats. In fact, Nas himself only really had one other song capitalizing on the cowboy theme. His other tracks are completely different.
And you know why? Because anyone with half a brain knows that you look like a fucking scummy trend rider if you did that.
Having a quasi-country, quasi-rap song released in the same Lil Nas dominated summer through an actual Nashville label and have it top the country charts for weeks, something that OTR was famous for not being allowed to, is something that can just result from capitalism. It's just so obnoxiously obvious. I thought I had struck gold when I said the song is the DCEU to Old Town Road's MCU, the Marvel Universe being this eternal juggernaut that despite its flaws mostly stuck the landing. But I don't think the DCEU comparison is quite accurate, seeing how the franchise at least has some quality. I'm not even really talking about the movies people actually like Shazam or Wonder Woman. Even the Zack Snyder movies have some positives. No, the Get Up is the Mummy 2017 of songs. An embarrassing non-starter that was too busy trying to copy what's big, they forgot to have an identity. And just like that piece of shit film, we'll all forget this pretty soon.
That was not so bad. That was not so bad, was it?
Oh, it was bad. God, it was so bad. Dishonor on both your houses.
I should be thankful Maroon 5 came at the end of the year to suck, because I didn't really want to talk about a song with a strong feminist message, but Jesus Christ, this song is so misconceived and horrible.
What I really wanna see is the
When I die, you better not put this piece of shit anywhere near my grave. It's just bad. I legit thought this would end up on my actual list. Maybe this year was more awful than I originally assumed. This was a terrible year for country songs about alcohol. Go away, Luke Combs. This is probably not as awful as people make it out to be. It's probably worse. I personally don't hate it, I don't know why. I just hate more the idea of Rihanna's two shitty ex-boyfriends getting a huge hit together. Screw this.
Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind.
As a song, this is pretty good actually. But if my list was ranking the songs that should have been a hit the least, Murder on My Mind would be number 1. Okay, number 2, The Get Up still exists.
Knocking boots.
Speaking of The Get Up, I've probably been angrier at this if that song didn't exist. This was actually funny and feels like parody. Two acts that could have been decent but are always in the brink of being awful made their worst hit. No things right on this one. Sure. If it wasn't for the guitar solo, this would probably be in the top 5 or something. Holy shit, he sucks so bad. Screw you, Chris Brown wannabe, which reminds me. Now that Dickie and Drakey revived this Untitled Doucheba's career and he's getting multiple top 40 singles again, I'm just gonna put every single one he gets on the dishonorable mentions for all of my worst lists at the very least, if that's okay. Hoping I don't have to do it for so long. Romantic? Look back at it, it's so bad it kept 6-9 of our worst list. Just think about that for a second. Gross. I would have included Beautiful People, an actual real hit on here in the dishonorable mentions, but that song sounds like a masterpiece compared to this. Really, who the hell approved this? I'm hoping this doesn't take off in the US.
Baby having 4 or 5 killers. Baby got children.
Get it?
I've got my eyes on you.
This probably should have been on the list, but I didn't even know it existed until like last week, so I had no material, but it's just terrible.
press, 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 press. Cardi don't need more press.
FYI, Cardi B was awful this year.
Fuck rap, bustle like an addict with a semi-automatic.
This song wasn't close to being a hit. It wasn't also close to being the worst Logic song of the year, but I just wanted to reiterate that he ended the decade as one of the worst rappers currently working. Screw this guy, I don't want to listen to him ever again. And this applies to Eminem as well. This wasn't a hit. It's bad that I can safely say that I'm glad a song whose entire profits went to charity didn't do well. Colossal unfunny disaster from a fucking hack who has never done anything worth noting. Except for reviving Chris Brown's career, which reminds me again.
This trip got you in heat.
Chris Brown fucking sucks.
When I popped off, then your girl gave me
Awful. Number 1. Let's talk about comeback singles. Again.
Y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess.
The lead single for a new album cycle after years of absence. A time for an artist to make another impression, to have a new mark in pop culture. Great comeback singles can make you look awesome. Bad comeback singles can ruin your career. The best comeback singles are like an artist walking away from an exploding car like, boom, yeah, this is amazing. The worst comeback singles are like getting into a car crash, like, crash, you're done, bitch. Lately, comeback singles have been like parking your car like, oh, well done, I guess. I mean, they're not bad, usually they're decent, but they're so safe. You just don't make your big return be bland background music. People might not even care about it in the long run, and let me tell you, there wasn't a comeback as inexplicably big, yet painfully uninteresting as the Jonas Brothers reunion.
We go together.
Just so much stuff that led to this. Nick went to have a successful pop star / acting career. Joe went to star in his own trashy band who also had a big hit. And Kevin Jonas became a celebrity apprentice. Ew. When all of that eventually started failing, they reunited with a heavily marketed, promoted comeback that was met with a sounded Now, soccer is alright, it's alright. It's easy listening, pop rock that's catchy enough to be memorable, yet safe enough to be played on the radio. Yeah, hell, it's probably cleaner than their Disney material from a decade ago. There's a few melodic elements that are nice. I like the little before the chorus kicks in. I like the back and forth about you refrain. Other than that, it goes from one ear to the other half the time. Not to mention for all the marketing and promotion TV appearances and the high budget music video filming the castle from The Favorite, which is my favorite movie of all time probably. The song just sounds very cheap in places, even 5 Seconds of Summer have more grit than this. I honestly prefer their 2013 failed comeback, at least that was fun. I usually hate acts where it's obvious that producers just want to capitalize from them. I ultimately didn't care much about the tactics Sultan Road used to make it a phenomenon. I didn't mind Sean and Camila's awkward, probably fabricated romance to propel Senorita. Hell, we've put up with Maroon 5 for nearly 2 decades now, even though no one really likes them anymore, and yet I feel like they still matter more than the freaking Jonas Brothers. The thing is that I was there 10 years ago. They were a gigantic craze that seemed to make no impact at all. I don't know if it's a US thing only, but I barely ever heard their songs. Now, High School Musical, One Direction, even Big Time Rush, everyone I met talked about those constantly. Those were huge, but not the Jonas Brothers.
Basically what I'm saying is that they were probably never cool.
I'm feeling so cool. Top to the bottom, just cool.
Something else about comebacks I forgot to mention, like 8 times out of 10 they followed up by a much riskier second single. Sometimes they're way better, sometimes they're more controversial. A lot of the time they're much worse. Even bad lead singles can get worse follow-ups. And Cool is such a gigantic nosedive from an already weak start. I'm surprised they didn't go back to hiatus immediately afterwards.
Lately I've been feeling so cool.
It combines the inane horniness of DNCE with the dour sound of Nick Jonas' solo career. I didn't like Joe Jonas' band at all, and Nick Jonas was starting to sour on me at one point, but they were way better than this shit, right? At least they had soul. Where's the spark? Where's the passion? At SNL they played a medley of this and one of their old songs, and it was like night and day the difference. Burning Up radiates with teenage energy. Cool reminds me that these are married men in their 30s who used to be relevant back when I was 9. This sounds like a even more sterile, ugly version of Slow Hands. The percussion is barely there, the guitar is pretty meh, it's all just clapping and ohs below the Jonas' falsettos, and let me tell you, I've never liked these guys, but I could swear that they could at least sing. It's just a bunch of bros with no confidence bragging about how great they are. No wonder this didn't call at all.
Like a new James Dean.
Invoking James Dean as a sign of coolness is almost as played out as rhyming Beyonce with fiance at this point, but honestly that's all they got.
I feel like Post Malone when I get home, sitting there waiting like it's Game of Thrones.
Ah yes, the 2 coolest things in pop culture right now. Post Malone and Game of Thrones. I mean, I get it. Post Malone mentioned the Jonas Brothers in one of his hits last year, and Joe Jonas is married to Sansa, but still, those are not cool things by themselves. Also, what even is the demographic anymore? Nick references things from the 70s, Joe references things from today, there's like a 50-year gap of coolness just invoked. Isn't the same people who remember young Jane Fonda movies listen to Post Malone?
I grew up, I wanna be just like me.
You are you! What the hell are you talking about? People in the comments are going to ask why Cool is above the Get Up. I don't know, maybe just to shake things up a bit. They're about as bad as each other, but if I had to give Blanco Brown a point over the bros, it's like he's not gonna have another hit ever. And the Jonas Men already proved that they have, and it also really stunk.
And also the Get Up had like a hook, at least. Like, it's incredible that such a comedy forgot to give one of the follow-up to one of the biggest comeback singles of the decade a hook. Pop music. It's all about the hook, man. What the hell?
Despite its shortcomings, Soccer had a very memorable hook and every part of the song builds up to it. Cool just stomps around and kind of gets to the chorus which doesn't even have a melody. It's pretty much just, I'm cool, look at me, I'm so cool, damn my hop's so cool, but it's just embarrassing. And of course it has a guitar solo, and it might just be the worst guitar solo in a pop song actually, like, what? Kevin, you pretty much do nothing for the band. You have one job and you blew it. This whole comeback, I haven't even mentioned the other follow-ups to Soccer. There's the soulless Only Human, which is a hit right now, and also sucks considering that it's honorable mention too. I caught some awful track with Daddy Yankee called Runaway. probably would have been number 1 or 2 on this list if it was a hit or if I cared at all. Cool is even the worst song on their crappy, boring Happiness Begins album. Really, why the Jonas Brothers? Why not other Disney properties people actually care about? Hell, they're out of Disney and they're being hoarded out even harder, being featured in soulless music, being nominated by awards they shouldn't even be considered for, appearing on TV shows for no reason. They even have shameless sponsors on their music videos. Like, well, what the hell was that? What? Tell me, what the fuck was that? But really, you can even call it a revival when there's no resemblance of life in it. It's soulless, it's a cash grab, and no one's going to remember it by the next year.
If there's a silver lining to this comeback, well, I'd be surprised if by the next album rollout they were still as big. And you can't really break up again after such a politicized band reunion. So they're probably never going back to their side musical careers. They could be good again, I highly doubt it, but there's a possibility. But honestly, there hasn't been any real quality to any of the post-reunion songs. After Nick appears in like 3 more Jumanji sequels, the Jonas brand will be done. Although, that being said, Maroon 5s are still around like after what, 20 years? So maybe they're gonna become that. Yeah. I guess this really was the Game of Thrones of decades. MRGS, happy holidays. And remember, there's nothing more powerful than a story. And the stories that people gave us this year were so fucking boring. See you.
Cool.